This video helps you answer the question, do I add the milk straight away or do I wait? You've made a mug of coffee, 200 millilitres, and you have 50 millilitres of milk. You want to drink it when the temperature of the coffee and the milk reaches 68 degrees centigrade. Do you wait for 2 minutes and then add the milk, or do you add the milk right at the start? Which method will cool your cup of coffee to 68 degrees centigrade in the shortest time? This experiment shows you which you should do, or rather it attempts to show you. I'm going to start with a cup of coffee at about 90 degrees centigrade, and it's up to you to take readings of the time every 30 seconds. You can start almost as soon as I put the hot water in, and you must measure the temperature of the coffee. After 2 minutes have passed, I'm going to add the 50 millilitres of milk, and you should carry on timing for a total of 4 minutes. Right, I'm now going to get the water boiling. This will take a moment or two, and then I've got to add exactly 200 millilitres of boiling water to my coffee, and we'll put the thermometer on and put the... Right, we've now got boiling water here. I need to measure exactly 200 millilitres into my mug, and we'll start the watch now. Right, now the probe has been placed in the middle of the liquid. So we'll just wait now, and it's up to you to take these readings of the temperature every 30 seconds. And I may try for you to put the light on about every 30 seconds. You see, I make the time now, since I added the hot water, about 36 seconds, but that's up to you. You shall be taking readings of the temperature here and the time from your own timing device. And this one, remember, has not got any milk in it at all yet. But we're going to come up to the minute. There we are. When it gets to 2 minutes, I'm going to put the 50 millilitres of milk straight in, which would of course immediately drop the temperature of the coffee. We're coming up to 1.5 minutes now. That should allow you to read the temperature, which I make now about 81.2. And now we're going to approach the important point where I'm going to add my 50 millilitres of milk. 46, I make it 7, 8, 9, 50. And if you started when I did, then you should be ready to notice the milk going in about now. And you'll see there's a sudden drop in temperature. It's gone down now to, well, we're coming up towards the 2.5 minute. Fairly shortly. It's about around now, though it depends on your own timing. See, we're now down at 67.1 about. Notice I'm not stirring the coffee. About 3 minutes there. We'll carry on for another minute. You see, we've now got a temperature of 66.4, so we've passed our 68 degree required temperature. Coming up now to 2.5 minutes, sorry, 3.5 minutes. At about 66. And this is the final 30 seconds because we are going to stop the timing of this experiment at 4 minutes. And then we're going to repeat it, but the second time we're going to put the milk in at the start. So we're coming up to the end of our first experiment. Now I make that 4 minutes now, and it's 65.5, but you should take your own readings. Right, we are now ready to do the second half of the experiment. I will just heat the water again. And this time I'm going to add the milk first. So the milk is already there. Just check that it's boiling again. It is. Right, I now need my 200 millilitres of boiling water. And everything else is the same. We'll add the water now. And we'll start the clock. And again, I want you to take the temperature reading every 30 seconds. So as before, I will try and turn the light on when we reach the first 30 seconds. Now, of course, although the water was boiling, it had dropped a little bit by the time I got it into the mug, but the temperature was much lower to start with. And here's the 30 seconds, 28, 29, 30. Because of course the cold milk was already there. So we're starting around the 70s, aren't we, this time, rather than the high 80s. 45, 46. Temperature this time will be going down, but not quite so quickly as it did in the first experiment. 56, 58, 59, 1 minute. Past there. We're just about 72 and a bit. And we'll take the full 4 minutes again. And as before, the probe is in the centre of the mug. I've tried to repeat the base conditions exactly the same as the first time. 28, 29, 30. About 71 degrees I make it. "45 seconds, 1 minute 45, 46. So 51, 52, 53, 54, 57, 58, 59. 2 minutes. Now that was the point I added the milk in the first part of the experiment. So now both our first experiment and this one had milk in them. We've got to 2 minutes 21, 22, 23 and so on. So 2:27, 28, 29, 2:30. So we're over halfway through the second experiment. "54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. That's 3 minutes now. At about just under 68. If you repeat this yourselves, you can probably get more than one person taking readings, so it should be a lot more accurate. But do try and represent the results correctly, in other words, repeat them in exactly the same way as you did the first time. That was just 3.5 minutes. This is the last half minute, so we're getting to 3 minutes 40. So 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 4 minutes. And that is the end of the readings. So I'm going to stop my timing device now. The temperature will go on down, of course. Right. Now, we've tried to repeat everything in the same way as we did before, taking temperature readings every 30 seconds. Now, I have actually got a set of readings that I took off camera earlier, and we'll discuss those now that you've hopefully made your 2 sets of readings. You can compare my results with the ones that you got. Now, I haven't been able to write down the results while I've been taking the video, so you will have to look at your own results for that, but we will now just pause a moment and then we'll look at my set of results. Right, these are my results that I took off camera. Now let's look at the top table first. The first column is when I added the milk after 2 minutes. Now the blue numbers represent just the coffee cooling down, and at 2 minutes you can see there's a sharp drop when I added the milk. And you can see that at that point the temperature dropped immediately below my 68 degrees that I was after for drinking. The second column represents one where I added the milk at the start, and you see it doesn't fall below 68 until about 3.5 minutes into the cooling. So red numbers represent milk in the coffee, the blue numbers represent no milk. Now I thought, well, I'll try adding it after 1 minute. And the second table is after 1 minute, and you see after 1 minute when I added the milk, the red numbers, the temperature was still just above the 68 limit, as it were, but at 2 minutes it had fallen again just below the 68 degree mark. Well, what does it prove? Well, it's hardly conclusive, but it seems as long as you add the milk after a minute or so, the temperature does indeed drop to our required 68 more rapidly than if you add the milk at the very start. But what if we'd chosen a different drinking temperature? And do your results that you took support this conclusion? I think the only thing to do is for you to repeat the experiment and let me know if you're sure one way or the other.